Greetings and salutations. I kind of wanted to do a quick little update overview, kind of a wish list video like I've done in the past for a few other titles. Right now we're looking at the Astrox Imperium, and you can see here, got almost about 20 hours into it, and I've done, I think, about 3 playthroughs, and I've noticed game is really enjoyable. It's kind of a, if I were to kind of summarize it in a couple of words, I would say it's an EVE Online single player mode, which I kind of dig because I really don't want to get into like this whole monthly subscription. Uh, so I really like what they've done, and I got these different cards so you can have multiple playthroughs going. I like that a lot. But a few things or a few issues that I've kind of run into on these playthroughs is, and I don't want this to come across negative, because the game, I've been enjoying the game, and I don't know if those issues are me and I haven't unlocked or progressed past a certain stage to unlock um, a secondary play mode, maybe is the word I'm looking for. But let's go out to the map here and let's look, and you can see that I've actually done quite a bit of exploring. And oh, that's just randomly new. Okay, quite a bit of exploring, and I do like how they have the faction systems. The quest system becomes a little convoluted. I'd like for them to keep, because when you pick the quest up, it says start and end. I would like for that to stay on here. Either I wish I could keep that pop up going. Either in, like, maybe there's a quest, since I'm on the quest tab, maybe there's a quest dialog box that stays in the corner, and it gives me the same information that is, well, I mean, there is this, right? But when I click on this, let's say when I click on this, uh there's a little bit of a disconnect here. So if I mouse over this, it should also have another box down below it. I wish this would stay up and not disappear when I move a mouse off. But right below it, that said quest, right? Like current quest. And it would be another source to pull. And it kind of would read like what this one now does in the bottom left corner, but over here. And it would say start and stop. Because once you get a couple quests going, it gets a little convoluted. And so I'll go through and I'll be reading through this, and it's like, okay, that's not too bad, and but it just seems like there could be a little bit more streamlined. So the other issue that I'm having is, this is kind of a two-part issue, but as I play through, I realized that it was kind of painful. I wanted to play like the minor economy system. But then when I got into, let's go in here. Let's go back. When I got in here, is there a market at this one? Undock. There is no market here. Let's see if there's another market. And so you can see I've really fleshed out. Oh, that's weird. Um, I've really fleshed out, these zones, and here, the boost. Also, I'd like there to be a little hotkey to this boost. I noticed that there's no hotkey to this, or if there is, I haven't been able to figure it out. But um, kind of like a space bar. I know the space bar doesn't do that, but that would be nice to have it to where I mouse over it said, toggle afterburner, and then in parentheses it would be like, L or H or whatever. Um, Kind of to make it a little bit user interface. And even though I had played a bunch of Eve, and there's some parallels, uh, the space bar is really cool too. I find myself in that view mode significantly more as I play through. It's like one mode is a visual representation, and the other mode is kind of an informational representation. And I do like how they have that. But I've noticed, because of the economy aspect is so shallow, um, and I don't mean that it's shallow in its depth. What I mean is that it's shallow in that it's hard to kind of get into. It's hard to segue into that economy. And if I click on markets right here, I had a hard time figuring out like, oh, I have these rockets, and I had, I was like trying to figure out how to sell this stuff. Like how, okay, well, if I get rid of this, and I figured out that they have these supply and demand, and I should be able to go, if I've already been to the market, right? I should be able to just type in right here. I should type in like 20 mm, right, and hit enter, and it should tell me, um maybe in here it should, maybe under here it should tell me which station. If I go to search and I go 20 mm, 20 mm, market items, okay, and if I hit search, um it should tell me the people who are wanting to buy my item, right? And so, if I click here, it's not, see, it's saying that they sell it here, but they don't. I can't. It doesn't say anything about selling it, right? They're the market, like figuring out, like you can go to the stations, and if I can go like right here, and I can see their whole summary on supply and demand, but I have to comb through this stuff and find 20 millimeter, and you can see I visited lots of stations. But the economy aspect, the buying and the selling, is a little uh, disjointed from the beginner phase, and maybe there needs to be some developer videos put out on how to segue into the economy. But I've been really struggling with the economy, and figuring out, like, I get like, oh, here, sell at places that have demand and you'll make more money. I get that. Um, but the blueprints and stuff, and how they're really integrated, and if it's possible to make more money through the blueprinted items, it's just a little disjointed in that aspect of it. And so what this did, though, is this forced me, because the quest system, if I go to skill system's amazing, university's amazing, I wouldn't change a thing about that. But if I go to mission, don't tell me there's not a mission here. There's no mission here. Okay, I gotta go. Let me back out. Let me go to the other one. Let me go to the other one. When I do my mission searches, like what I figured out is, undock. I'll go to the other one. I'll just bump the afterburner just to kind of speed it up a little bit. And then I'll turn the afterburner off. And I mean, it's a few seconds, not that big a deal. I really like the combat system. The problem that I run into is there's not enough of it, and because of the quest system, um, I don't know why it's not docking. There we go. When I go to missions and I search through here, let's say I do mining, right? Well, the problem is that the mining is so lackluster in payment, like the money that you get out of it, that it's not, all of these missions are kind of really subpar. I mean, this is a little better, but there's not one here, but these missions, these kill raider missions, are like 200K. You can see right here in here, kill raider, kill raider, kill raider, kill raider, because they pay the 200K or the 160K, and you do the mining one, right, and you get 27K. So I would literally have to run, what is that, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 missions, 9 mining missions, to the equivalent of killing one raider mission. And it's not that raider missions are overpowered or there's a greater threat there, because that's just a different mechanic of the game. It's like, this stuff is not, these mining missions should pull you into the economy, and they don't do a very good job pulling you into the economy, or the manufacturing. And so some of these mining missions and delivery missions should should really kind of pull you into that economy aspect a little bit more, like force you to do the refining and have a payout for doing some of the refining, and just to kind of get that segue going on the economy, because I've completely abandoned this stuff just for the raider missions, and I do enjoy the raider missions. And I realized after doing the raider missions, you get these epic drops, and I'm like, ooh, epic drops. But another issue is, so I'm out in the open. I'm out in the open world, and I'm like, okay, you know what? I just want to go ham, and I just want to do as much combat as possible. And like, this is what I was talking about earlier. Now here they have a start mission and an end mission. Like, this is perfect. But once you accept it, you lose that. And it would be nice if there was a way to keep that, that start, mission end, and mission start, and if somehow those two little bubbles, start mission and end mission, stayed over on the bottom right, like you just added another box, um or maybe if you tab through this, then they would populate differently. Like, you hit right click, I mean, you just left click this, and you're like, boop, and the two bubbles pop over here and here, say start and end, and you click it again, and then next bubbles are starting in. I'm sure there's a couple ways to do that, but I would really, it'd be a big help if that end mission and start mission stayed there. I know that's barring it way down. I know that. But when the problem is when you have 4 or 5 missions, it just gets a little convoluted. And if you could keep that start and end mission as you cycled through this, and it would just change, right? It would just populate in a different bloop, 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 bloop. I think that would help so much in the flow. But back to my combat. I know I'm jumping a little bit, but back to my combat, discussion. I was like, ooh, I want to farm out some more of this blue stuff. And so the issue that I ran into is I had a really hard time finding stuff to kill, finding stuff to hunt. And so I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go, and I'm walking through the logic, right? The gameplay. I'm gonna go to the red, right? If it's red, it's got to be enemy. And I really didn't come across too much stuff. I got way out here in the sector, and it did spawn a couple of larger ships, but they were too powerful, so I was able to kill one, loot, and then bounce. But I was thinking as just kind of a way to fix this, because it's almost like there's transitional gaps, right? You want to introduce somebody into combat, you want them to have engaging combat play, but then how do you get them to the next step? And there was a couple things I was thinking of, is there's not enough randomness in the game. And what I mean by that, there's this glitch sound when you play the game. There's just like radio frequency glitch sound that's built in to the audio track, but it doesn't do anything. And it would be nice if you got random messages that came up. They're like SOS signals, like beep, 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 whatever. And then you're like, go to this site, we need your help. And then it turns out that it's a pirate ambush. And if you could come up with like 10 of those, radio call frequency scenarios, I think that would add just another layer of immersion and kind of randomness into the game that would just put it over the top a little bit. Figure out how to get players segued from the mining and the cargo delivery missions into the economy, because I'm really struggling the economy. I haven't spent any money on it to get to where, like, I just don't. I realize there are package deals, but I don't really get how I'm supposed to make money off of this stuff. It's kind of vague, and I just don't want to go buy this stuff in the blueprints. It's, if I could somehow search the markets to where, oh, I could see that this space station that I've already been to, I can radio them directly and ask for an update, and it seems like there should be kind of information push, like kind of updates, like, attention, station such and such is out of food, 20% markup and supply drop, blah, blah, blah. And you'll drop what you're doing to go make that bonus money, kind of build up. I don't know. There's just a lot of it I don't understand, and I'm really struggling to segue into that. Um, but yeah, the in the combat, I'm just stuck on these combat missions if I want to find raiders to fight and that more engaging combat play. I'm stuck in this loop of going to find raiders. There's no like one zone that I can go to that it's just they're brawling it out nonstop. They're just brawling it out, and I kind of squeeze in there and cheese a couple of them, and then bounce out because they're at war with somebody else or something. There's no like, oh, faction wars that just dropped in, and there's the declaration. No, there's none of that. So um, yeah, just a couple of talking points, and where I've been struggling to transition into some of these game modes and push through. I've really been enjoying it a lot. And I know there's the Merc aspect I haven't touched on at all. But yeah, as always, thanks for watching. Feedback is always welcome. All right.